This very well could be the last big score of 2023. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? AJ Good here at the House of Masks, where we unbox and review cool stuff almost every single day. And as I mentioned in the intro to the intro, this could very well be the last big score of 2023. Damn. Another year come and gone. It seems like it was just yesterday we were ending 2022. But what could the last big score of the year be? Now, before we jump into the package, I'm not saying that this is the last big score of 2023. I think that most of my bigger scores came out of nowhere. This is just the last big one that I have planned, and trust me, it is a big score. Both physically, literally, it is large.
That's what she said!
But also, it's a pretty big deal, so I'm pretty excited, and I'm not going to say pretty anymore. Let's just go ahead and jump on into the package and talk a little bit about what we've got here. Alright, so this piece comes to us from my buddy Mike, who I have picked up masks from before. I don't know if I've ever gotten anything directly from him. He's always just kind of middlemanned these deals for me, and he helps me out a lot, so I definitely appreciate it. He helped me out a shitload with this one. And the only reason that you guys are seeing this in 2023 is because of Mike's generosity. So a massive thank you to Mike. Thank you very much, not just from me, but from my community as well. And boy, oh boy, I love packing peanuts.
6 months later.
You know what? If these protected the item, then I really can't complain too much. I have definitely had things show up with absolutely no packing material in them, and they have ruined the piece in shipping. So, let's go ahead and get rid of all of them and never look at them again, and we can get on into the item itself. I am excited for a multitude of reasons, and all of those reasons will be very apparent here in just a second. So, can you guys tell yet? You probably can. I can see it in the monitor there, and it looks pretty obvious. So, we will carefully take this guy out of the bubble wrap. It is taped up pretty well, so I don't want to just go ripping right on into it and risk ruining something inside.
That's what she said!
So give me just a second.
That's what she said!
Alright, I think we got it loosened up here, and we can go ahead and just start unwrapping it.
That's what she said!
And now, obviously, what we have here is a stage-used, that means real deal, Sean Crayon 0.5 The Gray Chapter mask, and this is a very cool copy. I can't say very enough because this is one of the coolest copies I've ever seen out there. Man, looking at it in person as opposed to the photos that I've seen, it has even more character. There is a lot of aging, a lot of abuse, a lot of wear and tear on this, especially for something that was probably only worn for one show, just like many of his other masks. There even appears to be blood.
There will be blood
On the right side of the face, which is interesting. This is the Lowell, Massachusetts mask. This mask was worn during the Gray Chapter, obviously, and it was worn in December of 2014, which means that this was used pretty early on in the Gray Chapter cycle. We were still in the first year of that album even being out, which is almost a completely different Slipknot than what they were by the end of that record cycle going into We Are Not Your Kind, which is kind of crazy to think about. It's also kind of crazy to think about that record is almost 10 years old at this point, which is wild. Anyways, obviously, this thing is rad because it is a stage-used Slipknot mask, but it's also rad because it looks cool. I feel like with these Gray Chapter Sean Crayon masks, you didn't really have an in-between. They either looked really cool or they looked absolutely batshit awful. There was no in between. It's like a fucking redhead. They're either really hot or really ugly. Now, one of the other reasons that this copy in particular is so special to me, because yes, I do have many real deal and stage used copies of the 0.5 The Gray Chapter clown masks, but this is the only one that I have that came with a bust. These busts are out there, but they have been eluding me for years. I don't know how I've never gotten a hold of one, given the fact that I have like 5 or 6 real 0.5 The Gray Chapter clown masks now, and given the fact that I was the first one to have a legit copy out there in the collector circuit, I've just never been able to obtain a bust with them, and the busts are what they were supposed to be auctioned off on. Now, I don't know how many people remember, but the whole idea behind these masks at the end of the cycle was for them to go on bust and be auctioned off, and I don't know if that never happened or if it happened secretly and that's how we have these copies out there. I really don't know. It seems like something Clown would do, some sort of secret auction, and that's how these keep winding up in the hands of collectors. If that's not the case, then I have no idea how these even got out there, because every single one of them except for one came from another collector of some sort. I got one from a record shop in Des Moines, I got one from the maker who made the original masks, and the rest I've gotten from genuine collectors in the hobby. All semantics aside, I just want to take a second to really appreciate this score. I'll give you guys a better look at it here because this thing is absolutely phenomenal. Definitely just became my favorite 0.5 The Gray Chapter in my collection. And yes, that means that this one actually beats out my first ever stage use Slipknot mask, which just so happens to be another 0.5 The Gray Chapter clown mask. Aesthetically, it's not the greatest. This thing is way, way cooler. I really like how experimental Clown got with these, and I'm really a big fan of the pantyhose looking masks. He did a few copies of his Gray Chapter masks that included these pantyhose, and it just makes for a really strange kind of bondage look. Something of a bondage hood or even like a robber mask, a ski mask of some sort. And I really, really like the look that gives it. It just adds a completely different texture. It covers up a lot of the bland boringness of the very, very basic round sculpt. And I don't know, this one's got double pantyhose action and it just gives a completely different look to these masks. So I'm a real big fan of that. I'm also a real big fan of the white copies. Now, Clown got these delivered to him in batches. They were either black or they were white, and that means the entire mask was black or the entire mask was white with this weird airbrushed lipstick and weird shading around the eyes. And I'm a really big fan of the white copies versus the black copies. Which is also odd because my all-time favorite 0.5 The Gray Chapter clown mask is a black copy. And Mike, I still really want that. Let's make a deal sometime in the future. Pretty please. But that's a different topic. This is the one that we are talking about right now, and I do believe that this might just be my final big stage-used score of the year. So 2023 is drawing to a close. We are about to enter December, and I'd say that if we end it on this note, we've ended it on a great bang, and I think that next year is going to be even bigger and even crazier because that's just how it goes around here. We stay winning. Now, I don't have too much more to say about this piece. Obviously, the Gray Chapter clowns aren't the biggest deal in the stage-used mask world. There are quite a few copies out there, and being that they are only used for one show at a time, there's not even really a lot of photos or videos that I can give you. However, I did contact a photographer who happened to be at the show in Lowell, Massachusetts taking photos, and he was able to send me some very high-def photos of this mask in use, so here those are. So these photos come to us courtesy of Moving Designs. Other than that, there are plenty of videos of this thing in use on YouTube. I will drop a clip right here so you can see that as well, and that will pretty much do it. Now, you guys know what comes next. We're going to end the video the same way that we end all of the unboxings and reviews on this channel, with some nice up-close hero shots of this piece so that you can see all of the beautiful detail, and then we will get it added to the collection and show it off there as well. Pretty crazy to think that a stage-used Slipknot mask is kind of sort of just another video around here in the year 2023, so thank you guys for allowing that to happen. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I know I tell you guys thank you at the end of every single video, but I want you to know that I fucking mean it. Thank you guys all so much for being here, for supporting the House of Masks, and for allowing me to live my dream life, and for living it with me. I really appreciate you. So, with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and shut this shit down. Until next time, this has been AJ Good here at the House of Masks, telling you to say no to drugs and alcohol, and yes to stage use scores, and we'll see you guys in the next one.